Welcome back for another fun stream episode. Joining me, as always, Alex Trebek.
Oh, if only. I'd be okay with that life. I would be okay with that life. I think it'd be great. I gotta figure out how to host
You'd be dead.
Yeah, true.
All right. Congratulations.
Let me see how to host you here.
Let me see how to bring you in. There you are. I always forget which number I'm supposed to press to make you on the screen.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. Yeah, I was trying to figure out because I just set up my stream to do some, do light gaming or whatever, and I was trying to figure out how to host you, so I can just have you going through on my channel, and then
you go into your chat for your channel.
Yeah.
And type /host space my name. Drop it.
Alright, I'm doing it.
Alright, enough of that.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's trying, I think. I don't think it's picked up that you're live yet. Oh, I know why. Because I did the wrong one. I forget you got that. Yeah. It's got that GLQ at the end.
So, we're just kind of... Uh-oh. Is now hosting your stream.
There it is. Sweet.
So I moved my camera a little bit. A little wider.
Yeah, it's got a nice angle on it. It's like the full...
Got the mic, so people know that I have a nice mic with the stand and the pop filter,
I feel like that mic, too, the way that it's shaped is hilarious to me, because it looks like you could reverse power and just amplify, and then you're shooting like a beam out of it or something.
Oh.
Like, that box frame on that thing is just, it cracks me up every time I see it. Like, that's dope.
Alright, glad you like. Just wait for your stream to clear up a little. It's coming back now. Dropping beats. There we go. Looking good.
So what do we got new with GLQ? What's going on with GraphLink these days?
Well, as you may know, I was a little sick, so haven't really done too much the last week or so.
Get back into it though.
Yeah.
Get back with a vengeance.
Yeah, totally.
On it. Staying in the grind.
Get in the grind.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time just going over the UI and the verbiage and stuff.
Verbiage.
I have so many things, but we'll dive into that another time. I was thinking about like this curriculum and how we wanted to do it, how we would want to put this out. Do you have a link to that Google Doc at all, or is that?
I do. It's shared with you.
Okay.
And
bring it up here.
Yeah, you should also. Whoa. I need to turn my monitor down. It's too much.
My child is screaming out there. I won't say screaming, but she's being a police car, I think. All right, let me see where it would have been shared. Find out which email you shared it with. The Yahoo or
monitor off. Yeah, that's what I want to do. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in that document, is links to the new updated trying to redo the documentation and the not all right, hold on, I don't know.
You're gonna get back to good. It's gonna happen.
Son of a B. Son of an Alex B.
I found this. Okay, there it is.
So in there is a link to another platform we've kind of talked about, but really is unannounced. You'll see it in the links section. I went hard in that document, bro.
The code versus no code.
Snow code.
Coder versus no code. Not snow.
Oh yeah,
coder versus snow code.
I got you.
Get over here, coder versus snow code. All right. Yeah. No, I've read all your stuff on here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, definitely. The site looks great. The blog that you put up.
Yeah, it's really coming together.
I was gonna do some write-ups on it and stuff and what we're aiming for.
Please.
I did notice that our YouTube video and the opening frame is hilarious because it's me just like I look like I'm just like Elon Musk smoking a J or something.
I actually started creating thumbnails. I found a decent creator for thumbnails, and so I need a couple pictures of you, like.
Oh, look!
Yeah,
just exactly. the green arrow that's like climbing, like what you didn't know could cost you money.
Yes, like, thank you. I need some of those.
10 things about crypto that will make you a millionaire tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
10x your portfolio today.
All caps, please. Lots of exclamations, lots of question marks.
Oh, the cringe, dude. The cringe. What is this? The influencer space has changed so dramatically. Like just in the past, just since the past COVID, it's like that's an era of time that everyone wants to forget, but they can't because it's everywhere. Like the impact of it. And the influencer space is like no different. People that were absolutely nobodies, but because they do YouTube videos about, shoot coins, like it just like bolsters them immediately, and they just really, it's insane. It's really crazy. It's cool to see though, to get that kind of exposure, but I think it's become kind of a dangerous area to work in. Too much financial advice.
Yeah, it really has turned into a, how do I say this nicely?
It's a swamp, J-Roo. We gotta drain the swamp.
It is a swamp, actually.
We gotta drain the swamp.
It really is a swamp, actually.
It's a swamp. Wading through these dojin.
Yeah, the problem is that we've talked about the average person is not willing to do any level of research, and they literally will go off of a video that just says, this is why it's going to go up, and they go and buy it, and they then that's literally their level of research. That's literally the catalyst for all of what they do, and it's really terrible because you can get good information. Like you can be exposed to new projects that maybe you had never heard of before. But if you don't do I hate to say it, but if you don't do your own research, I mean, you might as well just listen to, the homeless guy on the corner who's saying,
it's like, do your own research, but by the way, this is the best. Like that's how they lead it out. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, but since I'm the first research you found today, I'm going to tell you, like, this is what it needs to be,
Well, not only that too, but people don't realize that a lot of these are paid streams or paid promotions.
I didn't realize how aggressive that market is. Like they will, in the Telegram chats, if you're in a Telegram chat and they see you as maybe possibly kind of part of a core team, I have a proposal. Who do I talk to about a proposal?
Marketing. Who do I talk to about marketing?
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to turn my gain down a little bit. I think it's a little hot. But yeah, it's like, it's always like.
Well, this is also too, it's And then the thing is that a lot of the followers of some of these people are just botted accounts, or they are, uh, you know, not real followers that basically just makes their numbers look good enough. Um, you know, and it's like anything. I mean, the the onus is on the person looking into these companies or people. You know, just because you have 100,000 followers, what you need to ask for is their metrics to show actually what kind of engagement they're getting from their community. Most people don't know to ask for that, or you know, most people don't include it as the on their side, because the way that it works when you're evaluating a company to do work with them, especially in advertising, they're going to basically give you the best data. They're going to give you the stats that make them look fantastic,
Yeah.
but they're not going to give you the ones that they either don't have good stats on, or that they just don't want you to see unless you ask for it. So
Yeah, I think if people just Google, I just Googled buy Twitter followers. Just Google that and look right out the gate. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paid advertisements through Google
oh wow.
for sites to purchase instant delivery, #1 Twitter growth agency. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, people have to understand it is not hard to farm followers, and it's even easier to just get on there and pay a weekly fee, and then they boost, they bounce. Like, it's insanity how quickly like a nobody site will go to well over 100,000 followers, and it's really sad to see. Um, it's just organic growth. It's almost impossible to get organic growth without some kind of scandal, some kind of chaos to happen. It's really funny. But to measure that too, right? Like, it's I think the best way that I've found to measure it is like click on the followers and see kind of like where they're coming from and what their engagement is. Like, they'll usually have like 10 other followers or something like that.
Right, exactly. Uh, yeah, no, that is and actually even going a level deeper after that too, and then looking at those accounts and seeing what they're up to. Um, Always has some interesting things you can see where it's an account that doesn't post. Uh, you know, and there you can, you know, what's really sad though is a lot of people just can't even tell that it's a bot. You know, they're just too, yeah, it's terrible. I don't know. I don't know what we do about it.
Yeah, I think Twitter needs to figure it out. Um, maybe if they put some kind of guidance on, like, yeah, there's really no way to regulate it. There's really no way to regulate it. And it's just going to continue to happen. What we're going to see is just an oversaturation of these quote unquote influencers until that becomes a platform that is discredited. And that's what I'd like to see happen, to be honest. Like, that becomes a platform that's discredited, or the verification process takes a lot more umph. Like, if the verification process took more realistic approaches to what the interactions are like. And honestly, I could see it happening where it's like, unless you host regular Twitter spaces, like look at Twitch, right? For Twitch, and on Twitch, to become an affiliate, you have to like stream XYZ. And I'm recently learning about this. I don't know all the details just yet, kind of figuring it out as I go. But to reach these different tiers, you have to stream a certain amount of time. You got to have so many engaged listeners, followers, and things like that. And of course, you could bot that. Like, I have no doubt that people are botting that like crazy. But if we consider Twitter is getting to the point where they will have 4 different crossfires going at once of different mediums that they can sort and verify, I think they're going to use it. You're not going to have that kind of power without taking advantage of it, right? They're going to want to find other ways to verify people. And I think Twitter Spaces is going to be a part of that. I have no doubt. Or they'll just be different types of verification, right? A verified space host, ooh, space host, coast to coast.
Wow, I did love Space Ghost Coast to Coast. That was a fantastic
throwback,
show.
right?
Yeah, that was a fantastic show. Adult Swim.
The songs that came out of that were the greatest, man. Yeah.
I really do miss the days of the Adult Swim style, where a lot of the humor was not what was being said, but the space between comments, long extended pauses, not like fire, 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 just a lot of, and it's so funny because it's a cartoon and it literally could just be a frozen picture of one of the characters like giving a look at another.
Just like staring.
Yeah.
And all the different mediums for comedy kind of play with that, right? And I agree. Like I miss that. And I think we've really, that's another one of those things where we've done it too much. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like Family Guy. There's so many jokes about Family Guy where it just goes from one Stewie. Yeah, you remember that one time where we blah 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 blah, and then it blurps back and God, oh Brian, and like it goes through like the whole stack of just like quick clips, and those were funny. Those are great, and there's that methodology, and then there's just stand-up comedy where it's like we've become tuned to laugh after people are like, so that was a mistake. You hear that and that's just like cue, like, hey, laugh now. And it's no different than a laugh track in a sitcom.
It's the new laugh track.
It's the new laugh track, and I think I don't know. Like, where do we go from here?
Have you ever watched shows where they pulled the laugh track out?
Yeah, it's frightening.
It's
frightening. It's terrifying. Like Big Bang Theory, no laugh track. Friends, no laugh track. It's like, oh my god,
Seinfeld,
this is a depressing
no laugh
show.
Track. I mean, a lot of them are just. Well, I think also what's
they're not.
What I think also throws them off though is I think that because you don't have the laugh track there, the timing between the interactions is not how it would be if there wasn't a laugh track there. I think that also kind of
awkward.
It is. It's very awkward.
I think that's what, that's why I appreciate shows like it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it is.
Yeah, fantastic.
There's no laugh track, and it's just quick comedy, or like Schitt's Creek.
Fantastic.
Where they're comedy based shows, but they're not like let's follow a comedic structure that is the norm. It's like a TV series that just happens to be really funny. It's just great writing. It's great writing. The writing speaks for itself. And don't get me wrong, like. I mean, Seinfeld, that was a different era. Like, I feel like we're coming away from that era.
It was the sitcom era.
Sitcom era, right? Yeah, the King, we had King of Queens. We've got and now when you see sitcoms, it's kind of like that's what the kids channels have turned into, right? Like if you ever turn on, the cringe fest, but like if you turn on like Disney and you turn on the Disney Channel and it's like the new Hannah Montana style shows are literally what we grew up as, like this is the sitcom era, but now it's like kids shows, and it just doesn't. It works, I guess. It's trying to. I don't know if it's like the media machine trying to groom them into modern sitcoms are still great, but it's terrible. Like it's terrible. Like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, I think of when I think of like a kids sitcom, but now it's like all the shows are trying to replicate that, and it becomes oversaturated. And it's not funny anymore. That's how I feel. A lot of people disagree with this, but like when I get on Netflix and I try and watch like the Adult Swim kind of stuff. Now it's got to be like over the top raunchy or shock humor, and I don't know. It's just not for me anymore. Like I love to laugh, but it's got to be good. It's got to be good stuff, good writing. BoJack Horseman's pretty good writing.
Oh, don't even get me started on the BoJack Horseman show. That is a.
I've recently started committing to it.
That is by far one of my favorites. It might be my favorite.
But you notice what we find funny now isn't so much the raunch factors. It used to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. Like Dane Cook, right? Shock comic, high energy, boom, 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 just firing off stuff. And then in the middle of like a story that seems innocent or whatever, here comes the raunch. Like boom, let's drop it. And shock humor is great. Like if you do it right and that timing is like right on, it's hilarious. That's what she said is like one of the best lines ever, because it can make somebody that's not normally funny seem really funny because they can just drop that line after the most, oh dude, I can't believe you just said that, you know, situation. But yeah, now we're into, it's gotta be like the stuff we find humorous and enjoyable. It's gotta be real life. It's gotta be real life. And I think that that kind of is the armament for comedy, for laughter. That's how they arm themselves. Like comics, I forget who said it. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld actually. And I think it was on one of his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I think he said comedians just see the world differently. And then we just explain it to you how we see it. And it's funny. It's funny that way. And that's why like Rick and Morty has humor elements to it. But the satirical perception of humanity and the world and the universe as a whole, it's just like you don't know which way's up or down when you're done watching those because they're deep. Like they're deep, they're dark. It's funny. And I'm a person that enjoys that style. It's not for everybody, but the realer, the most real that something can be, that they're still making fun of it, the better for me. Like BoJack Horseman has this deep undertone of like a defeated, you know, character. Like, and that's like the new funny. That's the new engaging. This could be a #1 show. I've tried watching like Big Mouth. I've tried watching a lot of them where they shoot for like a Futurama-esque, which Futurama never really struck with me. South Park did for a while. South Park was brilliant because they did everything in 7 days. And I think that's how they remained relevant, is they took real time and turned it into, you know, cartoon satire, shock humor.
Right.
You know, and that's what memes have become. And I think that's why we're so hooked on memes. That's why humanity's like, memes will get old. Yes. And yes, it's oversaturated. But
I mean, it's very interesting because I think it takes a certain type of person to enjoy and appreciate something like BoJack, because there is a level of, I had to clear my throat.
Don't die.
Oh, muted. God, thank God for the mute button. There is a level of just like, I don't even want to call it sad. I mean, it is, you know, it's like you said about the characters being real. There's a level of realness to the characters. They're not perfect. But in the case of BoJack Horseman, I mean, that kind of really is a big part of that, is the brokenness of BoJack. And I guess there's a level that people relate to, I think. And I think that if you can't connect with that, you can't really appreciate the show as much.
You're not going to find it as enjoyable.
You know, you have to relate to one of the characters. At least one of those characters. I think that everyone does. I mean, you've got Diane, who, you know, has just as much of her own issues as anyone else. The only person who really doesn't have any issues is Todd. I mean, Todd literally is just the taking life as it comes to him. He's happy wherever he is. You know, the moment of where he is enough for him. Clean up your shit, Todd. You know, even Mr. Peanut Butter too, another character. Like, it's really interesting to, for some reason, I feel like you end up seeing through the veil of the other characters that aren't painted from such a dark side. Like, you do see the issues that you eventually see the issues that Mr. Peanut Butter has. You know,
it's like relativity, I guess. Like, I guess I'll explain. Like, the theory of relativity in comedy, like, we relate it to real life circumstances and things of that nature, but we also, you know, somebody that's like that, and that's why it's so funny. You know,
yeah.
And to us, can't relate to it. You can't relate. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, like when you watch The Office, everybody has that one guy in their office that's like insert name from The Office here. It's there. They have covered every personality trait. That goes back to even Charlie Brown, like the Charlie Brown cartoons and comics. There's always that it's based on a personality type and a stereotype, which kind of would segue this conversation if we go down the stereotype rabbit hole, where it's like, it's a stereotype. Is that bad? Is it bad to be a part of that stereotype? Is that something that makes you less unique, and now it's bad to say somebody's fits into that? I mean, your goth kids that all look the same, that just want to be completely different. There's the the emos, the punk rockers, the hair band, boy bands. We find humor in what we can relate to if it's presented to us in a humorous way. So it has to be relative. It has to be, so it's got to be relatable. But it's also got to be good writing, man. It's got to be funny. It's got to be good stuff. Otherwise, it's just boring. Which, that's why they think there's a million streamers out there that are, you can relate to, and you're like, oh man, I just find enjoyment watching this person play video games. That's why, that's why streamers out there are. That's why it's such a huge thing. People like to relate to other people. They like to feel like they're a part of the conversation and in with the group of guys having that conversation. It's why podcasts are how they are. But yeah, pretty crazy. A lot of crazy stuff.
I don't yeah, I could talk about BoJack and specific this whole conversation regarding comedy styles, especially as of late, for hours. I mean, it's a very interesting topic and an interesting exploration, because it's very easy to take it all at just face value and appreciate it for its 15-20 minutes, a half hour that I don't have to think about my life, and I just kind of pull my brain out and watch something else. But I mean, it really is a interesting exploration of the human condition in general, and yeah, I mean, you can really go down a rabbit hole in this one. I'm trying not to.
Sorry.
No. I mean, it's
do it. We're embracing it.
No, I mean, it's not bad, but you totally could go down a rabbit hole on it.
Comedy is life. Humor is essential. I think humor is essential, but how relatable that humor is what makes us fall in love with the show. And we can shift conversation from that, I guess, because otherwise, yeah, I could talk about comedy and all of this for days. Like, let's go. And I'm definitely gonna. I love talking about it, and I'll continue to talk about it forever. But oh man, I'm hoping I'm not getting sick, man.
And another thing too, though, also is shows like that, especially BoJack, is so layered. You can binge watch that whole show in a very quick amount of time. And at least for me personally, I found that it has replay value. It has replay value because of so many factors, not just the story. There's also a lot of jokes and a lot of unsaid jokes that go on that you miss very easily the first time through. And in my opinion, it has staying power as a show to rewatch.
Yeah, I think my wife will kill me if we watch another episode of The Office, because that's like, oh man, when I would go into like crazy depressive episodes, that's what I would do, is just go and watch episodes. I guess episodes for episodes.
Yeah, no, so there is that. There's like it's like a warm blanket of a show that you already know the outcome and still for some reason can appreciate watching it. I have to admit, I am that way with Star Trek.
You're a Trekkie? You're a hardcore Trekkie?
Yeah, I have to admit, I can rewatch that. As of late, it's really started to kind of be one of those things where it's a little more difficult on some of them. But I mean, especially Deep Space Nine. I mean, that really was when they started taking that from being an episodic of it being like so just each show being self-contained. It's kind of like how comedy can be sometimes too. It's like next week's episode, everyone's back to normal. All the things they went through in the past don't affect them in any future episodes,
Right,
and
right. They just don't exist.
right. Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that was like the earlier form of sitcom, right? Like I Love Lucy, the real early sitcom laugh tracks, they were like, okay, reset. And then
right.
the next week it's just another episode where it's completely disconnected. There is no continuity. Maybe there's some new introduced characters, but there's not there's not so much of a storyline there. Whereas like as it progressed and sitcom evolved, you start seeing more series um being told. Like there's a more storyline theme to it. Like, and then there's still their little this little quips that they run into throughout each episode, the little situations that they get themselves into, thus sitcom. But for the majority of them now, it's like if there's not this whole long story with twists and plots and things like that, it's real quick to lose interest.
It's about character development. That's a big
Yeah.
part, is the character development.
Yeah, and I think that's where we see different genres, like and people find their genre that they like. Some people, they don't want it to all flow together in some story. They want it to just be like its own little self-contained thing because they don't have time to binge and watch. A lot of people don't like that. They just like, hey, the TV's up. Let's just throw something on, watch a little bit while we're doing whatever, and go about our day. I wonder how much of that has to do with like how we just catalog things mentally. Like there's a lot of like newspaper comics that have been around for ages, but there's no continuity. It's not like if you miss one paper, you're gonna completely lose what's going on in the story there. It's all contained into its very small medium where it has to
Well, that
grab
was
your
a
attention
well
and
that
be
was
entertaining.
that was the problem though, is with the medium, is that with TV is that you needed to create a show that if someone missed an episode, they could jump in the week after and not be lost, because there was no DVR, especially in the beginning, VCRs and some of that, people weren't recording that kind of, unless you
Yeah.
were really into a show. And there was no on demand, and there was
And
no create an entire season and release it and watch it in one night. I mean,
yeah.
that really did change how we consume uh, these
Dude,
newer.
we are media vacuums, man. We are media vacuums now. Like it's crazy
Hoovers. We're Hoovers.
how quickly we go from like let's watch one episode to it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm in my underwear, just vegged out on this couch, still hooked into the series and going to town. It's always very.
Yeah, did you ever watch Portlandia?
I did.
There was an episode in Portlandia where they start watching a show, and then at the end of every one, they're just like, one more episode. And basically, they then don't shower, they don't go out, they lose their jobs. And like, the only time, like, it takes to the point of them getting their power shut off before they are just like, oh, we have to do something about this. And it's not about doing something about their life, it's about the fact that they need to watch the next episode of it. And then at the end of it, they end up going and finding the creator of, was it Stargate? No, it wasn't Stargate. What was it? What was the show they were watching? It was some very, dramatic, like, it wasn't Game of Thrones, but it was like a Game of Thrones style-esque kind of, thing.
But that's what it took them to, is that level to.
Right. And then when it ends, they basically go hunt him down, and they're like, you need to make more episodes.
Take him hostage. Like, that's funny. It's like, I wonder who has Seth MacFarlane hostage, and they're like, okay, do another one. Okay, another one. Okay, another one.
Oh boy.
Like, what if that's the secret? What if that's the deep state, right? What if deep state is just all of these comedic writers, and it like maybe it gets darker and it's not them that are being held hostage, but it's them holding their writers hostage and forcing them to just do show after show after show. Like I mean, that's like Seinfeld. He stepped away. Like when he, I don't know if I'm curious if and I'm sure the answer's out there, but I'm curious if he stopped producing the Seinfeld show because he was like, all right, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Like we did our thing and we were good. And I think that's more of what it was. Because when they stopped, they were the #1 show on television. And there's actually, now that I think about it, there's an interview with him and I don't know who the other guy is, Piers Morgan, but he's in this interview and no kidding, like the guy's like, so why did you get fired from the network or something along those lines? And he's like, fired? We were the #1 show when we stopped. And I mean that's how serious that was. Like he just was like, no, this is it. We did it. We had a good run. And I don't know. I think like the good shows, that's just great all the way around on production and the writers and everything that they did there. They did it a good go, and they stopped while they were ahead without oversaturating. I can't say the same about Firefly because I really liked Firefly, and I'd be happy if instead of a movie they just went back and did more series. But that's maybe a particular. I don't know. All the good stuff stops too soon sometimes, but Seinfeld did. I think it stopped at a great point, and there's a lot of shows that I can relate to that are similar in nature. They did their thing. That '70s show, that's a good example of one that should have stopped. That probably should have stopped and had a really good final wrap up, as opposed to doing like 3 more seasons or 4 more seasons or whatever it is, where it's like none of this is connected. These are new characters. You're trying to build a new character. It's like if they got to the end of Harry Potter and they just started introducing a whole new character set and coming up with this other story that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't make sense. You can't do that. You gotta have continuity. And oh, KFC Black Chicken, welcome back. I don't know, The Office. Yeah, I agree with that a lot of times. I really do. They absolutely, yeah. I love every episode.
For those not looking at the chat, he said that The
yeah.
Office should have stopped after Michael left. Yeah, but also there were some good things that came of that. I thought Robert California was fantastic, but I also like him as an actor. So, yeah, I mean, but I agree though. They definitely hit a wall at that point, and they tried to keep it going.
I wish I could remember everything that happens after Michael left because it all blends together, and that's why I like the show. But, like, I'm curious. I'm curious to think of how I can't remember anything that was incredibly plot related that took place for that series, afterwards. I just can't. I can't think of it.
It was Battlestar Galactica is what they were watching on Portlandia. That they then go and look for Ronald D. Moore, and they show up at the wrong guy's house. It's just some guy. It's not even It's not actually Ronald. They basically look him up in the phone book, and obviously has the same name. It's not him, and yeah, that's where the hilarity ensues. Yeah, I'm glad that my comment about Robert California was received well in the chat, because I thought that he was really the only thing that was one of the biggest redeeming qualities of the latter episodes was him, and just the way he delivers what he says.
I hated him so much, but I loved him at the same time. But God, I hated him. I was like, oh my gosh, who is this dude? It was almost like when they first introduced him to the show, it was almost like he was trying too hard. And I think it was the actor warming into the spot. I'm not sure if the actor warmed into the role or I warmed up to the actor. It was one of those situations where I can't think back and remember exactly, but he definitely was a different spice. It was a different spice in the mix that it was much needed.
Well, that's also refreshing. Another thing too, is it kind of challenges your perception of the show, because it's kind of ironic. Do you want the same thing every episode? And it's kind of no, but it's also kind of yes. There was something that you kind of did tune in for, that you did want.
Yeah.
But it is nice when a show can push you and break the mold and challenge your how you define the show and what makes it good. You know, I thought it
I
was
think
also
my
interesting too that in an interview, the actor, I'm blanking on actors' names today, but basically, uh, Jim was supposed to like full on cheat on Pam, and that was one of the only things that he basically, the only time he ever said no was to that, and he said that you would push the audience away and that they wouldn't, it would be tough to get them back after that.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, they'd completely separate from the character in a lot of ways.
That
I
was
think.
the whole scene when he's in the hotel with what's her
Yep.
face. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
supposed to go, no pun intended, all the way. Um,
Yeah, John Krasinski was
John
Jim.
Krasinski, thank you.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm
John
terrible with
Krasinski. I thought you
names.
were trying to think of Johnny California's name, and I did want to say before we step too far from California, my favorite episode is when they go to his mansion and they have like that
The party. Yeah.
It's sort of a last hurrah. And, this oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Oh, hold on, my kiddo's knocking at the door here.
Bring her on. We'll keep it PG. Yeah, thank you in the chat too, mentioning the proper name. I totally was blanking on that one.
She's gonna come in and show me something. Hold on. What you got? Oh, some new mittens. Here, come over here. The other side. Come over here. So John can see it here.
But it is kind of funny though how, those are some nice mittens.
So cute. Let me see these. Are they warm and fuzzy?
Yeah.
Are they warm and fuzzy?
Yeah. Why they are warm and fuzzy?
I like them.
Eat them.
Why not?
Because they're not tasty. They're funny.
They're funny.
Oh boy, she's ready to go on stream.
Oh, you ready to go on stream?
Oh yeah, she's gonna be a good streamer.
You don't want to talk to anybody? Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Did you have fun reading Harry Potter today? Yeah. What's your favorite part so far?
My favorite part so far is the one when they go to the zoo.
When we go to the zoo? What happens at the zoo?
I didn't know again.
You don't know? You don't remember? Remember where Dudley's leaning on the glass? And the glass just disappears and he falls in with the snake?
I didn't even know that part.
You are so crazy. Yes, you do. You laugh every time. You're silly. You're watching yourself on the camera. It's hard not to, huh? It's strange. Here. There, now you don't have to see it. And you can just tell me about Harry Potter.
No, Dad.
Why?
Because I don't like those kind of squares.
You don't like those kinds of squares? Oh, you want to review the GraphLink site?
Wait, did she just call us a square?
No, she's talking about your GraphLink page.
Oh, the blocks. I got you.
Yeah, you like this guy, huh? That's the pancake swap guy. Remember? He's pretty cool.
Pancake swap guy.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, he's pretty cute. Little bunny. There's a unicorn. You like unicorns? Yeah, this is a website that Daddy's friend works on. Do you think he did a good job? You think they did a good job on this webpage? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is that one.
Which one? Go and point to it. This one? The middle one?
Oopsie.
Ah! Always leave my stuff everywhere, huh?
Dad,
merchant.
I should. It's a water bottle, huh?
But it's also mommy's, too.
It is also mommy's. You're correct. All right. We'll head on back out, okay?
Okay.
I love you.
Have fun.
Oh,
I will.
thanks.
We will.
I wasn't entirely convinced that she liked the website design. I really felt like she was just being polite.
Her favorite part is the unicorn, of course.
I mean, all the purple and pinkish hues.
Yeah, she's funny. I'll get a more thorough critique from her later about it.
Thank you.
She'll bring it up. She'll be like, hey. She does act much older than her age. It is frightening. It's terrifying as a parent. I assure you that it is a lot. Mitten merchant. She could sell mittens, probably.
So, are we just gonna keep it chill on this stream? Because, I mean, we can just kind of keep on babbling and going on about random stuff if you want. I mean, that is the title. I wasn't, I don't know. It's up to you. It's
Getting
up to
too
our
intense on here.
viewers. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always up for whatever.
Yeah, I was talking about like the objectives of doing the curriculum itself, and I think we should make this a clip afterwards so we kind of like keep it at the top and remember. But I think after we kind of murder the verbose page as it is, and we just improve on its what it's trying to convey and communicate as the main page and all of that. I think after we've kind of dialed that in where we feel pretty comfortable about it, I think building, the tutorial outline when we're doing tutorials and we're doing curriculum specifically, we want to have first an outline objective, right? So we do the page. Page has a good spot for it. They know where to go to get there. And then we start breaking it into pieces. And each piece that we do, we want to have an objective for it. And what are the learning goals of a member that's coming onto the page and viewing these videos? And then just have like different tiers, right, of learning benefits from those, where they start super early and simple, and then continue outward from there to being a little bit more intense. Is there a way you can? The music's a little hot in my headset. Is there a way we can, or even just for me, turn it off, or will it turn it off for the whole stream? Yeah.
Well, being the fact that I spent the time doing that whole setup, I didn't actually make it so that I could change your
Oh, that's
volume
fine.
versus the other. But no, let's kill the music. I'm cool with that.
All right. Get down to brass tacks here, boys. Let's do this.
So one of the things that I really would like to do as let me start it like this. One of the things I hate sometimes is when you go to a website and they give you that, like, we're going to give you the tour kind of thing, and like it kind of highlights parts of it and gets you through it. I don't mind that as long as it's optional, but it's kind of annoying sometimes when that pops up. But one of the things I thought about was, especially for the learning side of things, was to make it so that you were presented with a challenge, if you will, and kind of a walkthrough of how to do the challenge, and then you have to do it. So, for instance, like the idea would be you go ahead and connect to doing a graph in the IDE, and it basically tells you, like, you need to put this block in, and then when you put this block in, it sees that you did it and kind of I don't want to say rewards you, but basically is like, yes, you're doing it correctly. So the idea would be like you bring in, let's just do like this. Like you bring in the start block, right? So like it would say bring that block in, and when it sees that hit the graph, it basically gives you some feedback to say, we saw you did that. Cool. Move on to the next step. And the next step is like, all right, in this example, we're just going to show you printing an output. And it's like, cool. All right, cool. You brought the print block in. Good for you. Now let's go ahead and bring in a string so we can say what we're going to print. Awesome. And then, it would be able to detect in the string, all right, write hello in the string. And you put hello in there. And it's like, all right, cool. We also need the stop block. And you get the stop one, and it, kind of keeps on like getting you through this. And then it's like, all right, now connect the logic through. And it would be able to detect all of these actions when it detects the out to the in connection and the string. And then the idea would be then being able to evaluate it. So then after it does the run, having it say, did the execution actually spit out what it was supposed to, or did it do something wrong and be able to catch that and say, oh no, you did it wrong, let's go back and figure out what you did. I mean, it's kind of tough, but my thought was to actually build a fake IDE, if you will, where basically rather than it being connected to the engine and trying to actually run the different graphs, the idea is that it's focused more on uh, walking you through it as a tutorial, and bringing in kind of like the idea of someone there walking you through it, basically, um,
Yeah.
and getting you to build some things that kind of help you begin to understand each of the blocks and how to use them.
So that'd be almost like building a code camp. Um, you know what I'm talking about? It's we that'd be building. So building a tutorial software is what is kind of what you're suggesting versus um, building a, you know, doing like film tutorial step by step.
Well, I
How
think
to
that
do
the
different
tutorials
things.
are still good. It's just, I mean, the thing is that I can use the code from the existing IDE and just add in either tutorial mode or actually just clone it and make another website out of it and actually make it part of it. Because the thing is, look, everybody learns differently, but going through a platform and reading everything and being given examples and then answering questions to prove you know it, I feel like kind of misses the part of actually doing. And I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
that's got to be a part of it is to show competency. Yeah, great. I know what a print block is. I know that an out input goes to an input and blah, blah, blah. Uh, but at some point, you need to actually do it. And in doing it, there has to be some way to evaluate it short of, and it is possible to do it this way. It is possible that you can make it an assignment and the people following along in the course, when they're done, have to export their graph and send it.
yeah. It's like
And,
it's a
I mean,
tactile learner format, for the tactile learners. And yeah, I like your idea of having just maybe like if you look at yours, you look at the top right, you have your wallet address. What if you bump that left a little bit and then had a toggle, and the toggle is for learner mode. Um, and we could call it training wheels. I mean, it can be hilarious. Like, so it's almost like a training wheels in learning how to do the different pieces. And that's when we would do, like, while they're doing that, you would have, while that's toggled, right? Because some people I've noticed even in chat, they don't like they don't want it crowded at all. So having something that would like hover over, and if every time you hover over it, it has a little pop-up window. I mean, it's just like that can make it very non-conducive for actually producing. But if you did have a toggled mode where you could um hover over the block, and it would give you those definitions of what that block is for, and then it would have a link. If you wanted to click the link, that would take you to a quick 20-second video of this block is for blah 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 blah. Within the
yeah,
parameters of this block, you can input something along
no,
those
I
lines.
do I do like that idea, and I was looking at that in the code as making it so that hovering on a block or maybe clicking, so like all of these do highlight when you hover them, and making it so that when it's highlighted, if you clicked on it, or maybe your mouse would turn to the question mark while you're on it. I mean, there's a million different ways you could do it. Bringing that up so that it would give you some quick information in the IDE, but then also be able to take you to an expanded definition, um,
in the
and
in the
cut
README, yeah,
right in
like
the actual docs. Yeah, so the docs I cloned over to here, and I don't know if you saw these links, but yeah, I was working on redoing the colors because I basically wanted to do this in a more up to date version of the documentation. I mean, this is kind of nice. It's got these nice little menus that pop over, which are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that kind of I think really coming up with a long-term vision and then just figuring out steps to get there is probably a good way to do it. And just creating the documentation itself would probably be a great stepping stone because anything else is probably going to build off of that.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing that I think is a lot of fun too is that the learning portal idea uh, can be done in two ways. The learning portal can be done as a instructor led, and it can be done as a the person can do it on their own time frame. So one of the things that's great is that you don't have to produce the entire course from start to finish. You can produce the first chapter, the first whatever you want to call it, the first section of the course, and launch that and start from there. And actually, each week or however often you do it, release the next um, section of it and build the course as you go, as opposed to having to build it from start to finish, which I think is probably a better way to do it in terms of A, getting it out there quickly, and B, in terms of being able to kind of get feedback and make sure we're driving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then, you have the ability to then allow somebody to pick up and jump into the course at any time.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna step away for just a minute, but yeah, keep mental notes. I'll be right back.
Mental notes, that's the docs, the doc I've been working on. So, there's tons of different ways that we can obviously do this. And I think, Alex and I have spoken about this. I think it's important to try to present it and break it into different ways for different people because some people are comfortable just opening up the documentation, looking for what they need and taking that and running with it. And some people need some hand holding. And I think that the goal really is to try to make something that can fit multiple ways that people are going to use this. Um, I really think the Learn platform could be fantastic, and I don't want to tease too much about some of the ideas that are going on, but we seem to kind of just, kind of say them on stream to get feedback. And I think one of the ways that I think that platform uh, really could be useful too is showing competency. So getting to a point where you can show that you have a level of understanding of the IDE, and at the close of that course, um, proving that level of knowledge and being able to be certified. Uh, Even if it's just a certificate that you can hang on your fridge kind of thing, um, it would show that level of competency. So, sorry, I was just kind of going over some stuff while you were away and just kind of saying about how uh, there's multiple ways we can do this, and we really want to try to appeal to both the person who's comfortable just opening up the documentation and their that mindset, all the way to somebody who really needs the hand holding to get there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of teasing the idea of getting it to show competency, completing the course, and being able to be certified, be able to have some kind of I completed this acknowledgement of that you are at that level.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like having almost like a scoring mechanism as you complete each one, and then maybe we could POAP those or NFT, those are good.
We could
Something
probably
from
co-op
numbers,
them,
but
but we also probably could get some bounty action for people who are really going through the course, you know, because the idea would be you can't just open it up and click your way through it. Um, we
right.
really could get it where you are actually rewarded for uh, doing certain tasks in there. That could be interesting. That might be a way to incentivize people to want to help with it and get
Yeah,
in.
and using the platform over other options and things of that nature. But I think it's got to be available first. And I think what we'll do is maybe in the course of this next week, cut through kind of like what we think the tutorial videos would look like, or each step, and also break down what, maybe if we could get the documentation dialed in just a bit for the verbiage, and then come up with a very fine brevity for that documentation that we can cue people to, as they're hovering over those blocks, having that little blurb, I guess, that we put in there.
Yeah, I would really want to see the tutorials manage to be very short and specific so that if I am somebody who's trying to do an operation and I don't know how to do it, that I can go hit up that tutorial, 5 minutes later have the answer. Because no one's going to sit through an hour stream to find out how to do something that takes 2 minutes to
Right,
do.
sure. Yeah.
So I really think there's some value of kind of cutting those into very small pieces. Granted, putting it all together in a basically recording it in very short form, but putting it together in the longer form in the learning platform, I think is kind of the way to go, because then in there you can break those into sections. Each section has a purpose, a goal, something you're trying to show that you know and understand. And, it then functions with two parts of it being part of the learning platform, but also being part of the actual documentation for when someone asks a question, you can just send it to them, or in theory, they can just search for it, or, the videos could even be linked in the documentation themselves. So the documentation can have videos embedded in them. That's not a terrible idea either.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I think it's important. I think it's important to have a direction, and I do have to get off, but I did like the idea of getting back on track with dialing these in. Um, and yeah, I'd like to see what the core team thinks about everything. How are they feeling? What does the team agree on as far as the direction
Yeah,
going
I mean,
forward?
really, I have to be honest. I mean, that kind of is going to be at my direction, especially with the position that I am basically
Yeah.
unofficially in. Yeah, and being the fact that I've been here since the beginning and have shown that level of understanding and ability to explain it well. That's why I'm doing the AMAs and everything. Uh, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think that they will give feedback throughout the process if there's things they think they need to. But
Yeah.
basically, I think that we are in a position where we can uh, kind of be in the driver's seat here and be the one figuring out how to move this forward. And
Yeah, and I think also in stepping that forward, it's good to, some of the marketing aspects of that too would be just marketing the ability to learn, the sequence, and learn about blockchain through experience, learning about cryptocurrency through experience, and having a lot of little tidbits about cryptocurrency. And it wouldn't hurt to eventually, maybe someday, and maybe this is just me and you on our own, doing like a blockchain course, just a real simple tutorial that's brass tacks. Like I've mentioned already, it's just like, this is blockchain, this is how it operates. I mean, there's 10,000 for dummies videos though, so it's kind of that's already a huge push. But getting it from qualified developers, like yourself, I think there's a lot of value to that people don't see. uh you know, and that's where you have. It's like we were talking about earlier, right? There's an oversaturation of know-it-alls on the YouTube space, on all of these different platforms, but to actually have credentialed developers communicating what blockchain is all about, what cryptocurrency is all about, and especially in the pipeline of GLQ, this is what GLQ is all about. Like that, I think that's huge. I think it's huge, and I think it's something that I'm excited about. And
One of the things I've
keeping
noticed
that in
too,
mind, you know.
one of the things I noticed was there's a company that they offer servers and other online services like that. And before I actually ended up using them, I found that when I would search how to do something, that their documentation would come up first and that their documentation was really, really good. Uh, so, it's kind of that whole encompassing SEO of how, like, you really need to hit everything from multiple angles because you never know what's going to end up being things that people are searching for. I remember
Right.
years ago, I wanted to do a blog and I was having a problem with the VPN on my cell phone. And I spent the time and I figured out how to get it to work. And I made a blog article. And no one else had an article out about this specific issue and how to fix it. And I got an amazing amount of traction off of it. It was mind blowing how many people were like, oh, thank you. I was having the same problem. This fixed it. Like, I mean, you really can if you can target what people are looking for, uh, specifically that isn't competing with other stuff because a lot of the other stuff you're gonna, like you said, if it being oversaturated, it's very difficult to get to position number one in Google when there's already other stuff out there. um, so
Yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, you can get to that point, but it really, you do have to build towards it. You can't just kind of go to it. So I don't
Yeah.
know. This was a good stream. Let's chat later offline maybe and just kind of figure out where we're gonna go from here because I really feel like we need to figure out a good first step and a goal, something we can achieve,
Yeah.
and really work towards doing that and building kind of a roadmap. I know how much you love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's paramount, you know. I think we're right on the doorstep, and it's, hey, let's go through it, you know. I think we're right there. We just it's about that time where I feel comfortable enough with the platform, having read over just about everything that's on the site. I've literally been through just about all of the docs, if not every page of that the docs, and getting to understand that. And I think it's great. It's I'm in a comfortable spot where I would not have a problem, um, just beginning, you know, just go and start building out the curriculum, building out, what tweaking the site, you know, tweaking the site. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the amount of stuff we could do with
solid,
just
but
the app. I mean, before we even get into the IDE, the amount of stuff
yes.
in the app, because that's where you really do get a lot more of the newer people starting, and that whole part is just, it really needs so much better explanation. Even in some cases, like pieces of it just don't even need to work the way that they do. I mean, there's a lot, and how do you get some of that data? It's just there's a lot that could be done in there for sure.
Well, I dig it, and I look forward to we'll get it cracking, and then we'll check in again in a few days. You know, after the Thanksgiving Turkey Day, and I'll go over kind of a good timeline, a good projection of what and when I'd like to see this stuff happen. I know I don't want to do that before we're like, hey, this is official with GraphLink with core team. This is what we're going to do, because you start putting dates out there and people start losing their gal dang minds.
Oh well, that's
So I
that's
want to
one
make
of
sure
that's one of the things
we're squared away,
I
you know?
I have learned is that it's great not to communicate dates if you can, or if you can just overestimate the crap out of them because yeah, people are very, especially in the chat.
And I'd like it to be where we're getting those knocked out, and as we're getting them knocked out, then we have a stream following that, where hey, here's what we did. Check this out. Let's give them a test ride of the Lamborghini, you know, and then affiliating that with the Graphlink core team as their announcements are coming out and whatnot. Be it if they do community calls. I'm not sure if Graphlink does community calls. I know you're on AMAs all the time.
We don't. I mean, this really is now the community call platform is the jr00t stream and the
well, dope. Then we'll if they're okay with it, then we can affiliate. Hey, this is Graphlink News, and we, you know, our podcast in a sense
that basically is kind of
all.
what I wanted to do with the blog, was that the community has spoken up many times about the fact that they are not, because also the thing is putting it in a Telegram message, people miss that. So then it if you're not around that often, it does seem like you're not getting that level of feedback. So you know, posting this stuff, like I said, they would like for you to be posting on Twitter if you're interested, and I think doing them as blog posts, either on the jr00t blog and also possibly on the Medium, maybe as well. The Medium's more like the official release kind of communication, is the way I see it, and the jr00t blog stuff would be kind of more of a, you know, here's what's going on, here's what we're working on, and more of an interaction between the community as opposed to a what's that word, like a publication release of information that
yeah. I think it would be really awesome is to do, hey, you know, get him familiar with, hey, we're having a community call, not a community call, but hey, we're going to be doing an official Graphlink announcements this week are going to be on Twitch. Hop on there. You can either send your questions in chat on Twitch if they have it, or they can send them in the Telegram or the Discord or whatever y'all are using entirely. But that gives them that ability to tune in, watch, see what the new announcements are for the week. And then we do, you know, official posts on Twitter, and then do another post following that with a recap, right? So then your blog or the Graphlink announcements front, we would do that after the call. So we go over, hey, we covered all of these things. We covered all of these topics, and here are the big takeaways. So then folks, if they want to see it early, they can hop into the call, they can watch that, or they wait, and then within the next, you know, 4 or 5 hours, we do a release on, hey, here's a synapse, here are the footnotes of this particular call.
Yeah. Let's chat it up. I'm going to invite you to a OneNote document that I started for myself personally for the entire platform and all of our services, since we do have a lot of repositories and code. But obviously part of that is what we're doing. So I'm going to send that off to you after the stream, and you and I can crush it in a OneNote, because I know how much you do love a good OneNote.
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet, man. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll talk to you in a bit then.
All right.
We'll get this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.